What is up, everyone? Welcome to Survivor Now podcast. Today, we are talking about episodes 13 through 15 of Australian Survivor Titans vs. Rebels. Today, I am joined by the one and only Oli. We're off to a great start. Who is filling in today for Tegwith. As you know, the US version Survivor 46 is airing later today, so make sure you're following Tegwith online and Survivor Now podcast on Instagram so you can get coverage for that. But today, we're focusing on Australian Survivor Titans vs. Rebels. Oli, start us off. We made it to the merge. You're muted. This is what happens when you have to parent your pet cat.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I was literally parenting my pet cat that is currently still not doing its job, but it's fine. The fact we've got to merge, though, in Australian Survivor is wild because it has been a crazy ride to begin with. Like, even some of the people that at merge, I didn't think would make merge. Some of the people that didn't make merge, I was shocked. So, I mean, considering how this season has gone, we all know the merge is going to be crazy. And so far, these first three tribal councils have not disappointed.
I mean, the power has shifted so much in these first couple of episodes. I was obsessed with everything that happened. It was amazing. And we got a tribe name. They decided to go with Tossie. So we have a tribe name. And I really like the color of the buff. I really like this deep blue.
Yes.
It's nice.
I like the tribe color. I don't know, because one of the tribes was light blue and they've gone to a dark blue. I was kind of sat there, I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. But still, I love the name. I don't know. Do you get what I kind of mean? Because it's like there's all different colors. But I feel like that's just
yes. So I don't know. I think it's a good mix. I see your point though, but you know we had to go with something. But I think something that we should also talk about is the fact that Alex is like, hey, I have an idol. Here's my idol. It didn't really come into play again, I would say, but like he showed it off. So I feel like we had to mention it. Yeah, but there you go. There's that blue that you're talking about, which is like a teal. It's like a teal.
It's very much a teal.
And special hello to Seahawks fan 4748. Hi there. Welcome to the live chat. Once again, we do have our live chat, so make sure you can comment on the episode along with Oli and I. Oh my goodness. So they go and they do their first reward challenge, which was a lot of fun. I love this challenge. And Valeria ends up winning, which was fantastic. I have some fun images from that reward a little bit later. But the big highlight that we have to talk about is Scott. Like, we need to talk about Scott's story here. And we get a lot of hints. Listen, you and I are not new to the world of Survivor. So, like, did you see the writing on the wall?
Well, because we had suddenly had such a big Scott edit, I was sat there like, something's happening with Scott.
Yeah.
Something's going on here because he's like, I think it was within like 20 minutes, he had like 3 confessionals. I was like, if I figured out Australian Survivor now, once they give you a lot of content, something's going on, which I think me and you both know, which something happened in episode 15, because I was watching it when I was like, someone's getting a lot here. Is someone else having a problem? But yeah, the writing was on the wall, but I kind of really enjoyed seeing this side of Scott, like, not just seeing this side of Scott, but seeing this occur within Survivor. Because I feel like you kind of just saw his, I'm trying to think of how to say this, just very genuine. And it was just kind of seeing this arc of him, which sad to see, but also I appreciated the authenticity.
I had like the best conversation with Scott. We interviewed him after his elimination. It was such a great discussion. What I do feel comfortable sort of saying, because Scott did mention it, is like there are a lot of things that were going on just like within the past couple of weeks that we didn't see, right? When the editors go through and they edit together these episodes, they have to tie it to the game because the show is about the game. But that doesn't always marry well or clash well with like
Yeah.
what just someone has going on. And I mean, we see hints, and I think they did a good job at sort of tying it back to the game. But Scott was very forthcoming with Nina and myself about, there was a lot going on, and we've actually been talking behind the scenes this whole time. But we get little clues here, right? Like everything feels a little bit uncertain, and I think that the merge. I mean, the merge was a big shakeup for everyone, but then we get his interactions with Kitty, and I think that this is like a really huge part of the story
Yeah.
because like he forms a really close connection with her, which I mean, you and I fans of Kitty, so like it's kind of like a good on her because it's her social game.
Yeah, I was going to say credit to Kitty for it, because she is able to connect with people, whether it is just her intense eye contact, but she is still able to connect with people. I feel like this image right here is a very key thing, because it was
Yes.
kind of the catalyst and foreshadowing of what was to come kind of pre-tribal. But I think you saw kind of Scott's, I want to say more, I'm gonna say heroic side, in the sense that, because you saw him make this genuine connection, and he was like, no, that's who I want to work with, because I appreciate you as a person before the player. But then obviously we saw it's that bit, but I'm really bad with confrontation, and we were like, yeah, well, I don't necessarily think we saw that.
No, we did. We definitely did. And we'll, like, I have the image. I do think that there was a moment of confrontation. Let me see if I can jump to it now. We're trying these new things with these images. Let us know how you like it in our comments. But I think it is. We'll come back. We'll put a pin in the confrontation part of
Yeah.
things. But yeah, here he just says like, "You're putting me at so much ease." It's nice, but we do see that he is struggling throughout this. Yeah, and they come up with this plan. Like everyone, they're just gonna vote Kitty, right? Like Kitty is the name that's been flown out there.
Yeah.
Kitty sort of knows what's going on. Well, actually, no, she doesn't yet.
No.
She doesn't. Excuse me.
Not
Here
yet.
is Scott being like, I don't want Kitty to go because he just formed a connection with her.
Yeah.
And then he says, they're coming for you tonight. So this is where I was like, oh, okay. Game wise, strategy wise, I was confused. I didn't know what the intent was of giving Kitty this information without providing any other information or without trying to drive it in a certain direction. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think what it was because we kind of saw throughout the episode, you kind of put it on there. Scott did have a very emotional moment, which I think I think everyone sees it and they think, oh my God. But then I think people forget that that's just one of many, because I think even in Survivor US now, Jeff Probst has done clips of everyone, like of a montage of people crying, because at the end of the day, you're in that game and you have nowhere to process a lot of things. So naturally, a lot of times we've seen it, people are going to cry in confessional. People are going to have a moment that the cameras pick up of them like being in that emotional state. So the fact, I don't know, it's that thing of the fact we only ever saw it kind of happen to Scott, but I guarantee there's so many other people on that cast that can sit there and be like, Scott's not the only one. I had a moment where I was crying.
Oh yeah.
But back to this, and I think it's where the game was getting to Scott a bit. This is where he kind of was like, no, he did act on his emotions, and he was like, no, I really like Kitty. I'm gonna let her know. And I definitely think it was a more emotional decision, because you had everyone else who was being very strategic. Because when I do look at the reasonings, as much as I love Kitty and stan Kitty, I understood why they went for her, because Caroline was the more emotional player, and I'm going to say emotional in the nicest way. Like she's like, out of the two, she is the more emotional player. She's the more takes things more. Whereas Kitty, I feel like we've been able to see her be the voice of reason and the more logical player. So getting her out was the smartest thing. Unfortunately, in that moment, Scott was very much no, this is my friend. I really like this person. I want to keep building this connection, so I'm going to tell her. And kind of just went. He did a slight bit of a Kelly. He did a little bit of a Kelly of, I want to do what I'm going to do, but not in a Kelly way.
But I didn't see the end goal. That's sort of the thing. I mean, I guess the argument could be made that the end goal was saving Kitty in the game, but to me that requires some sort of action on top of it. You can't just sort of pass the information along. Like, this is where the moment about confrontation, like this is to me where that sort of shows up again. And it's not like a negative confrontation or anything, but it's Kitty and Caroline literally being like, well, I'm sorry, you said that my name was thrown out there. Who said it? And like he just couldn't give an answer, you know, because it's just going to cause chaos.
Yeah. And I think it's that thing of he said it, he's not good at confrontation and he didn't want to stir the pot. And again, I think it was a split second thing of, I'm going to act on my emotion. I really need to tell you this genuinely. And then I think when her and Caroline came straight to him, I think he kind of, the kind of game part of him kind of switched back a bit, and he was like, oh no. He was like, I've now, and then I think he went into his thing of, I don't want to do anything. So, but this is what I kind of mean. He didn't really, because the reason I say I don't think it was that much of a confrontation is because I didn't really see Kitty being confrontational. She just wanted information. And I feel like that's more me having a different idea of confrontation than, say, someone else.
Sure. I mean, but to me, confrontation is just like, no, we need to settle this, you know, and we need to figure this out. And I guess to your point, it's like, you said my name. Are you going to, is there anything more that you can give me?
Yeah.
And I think it was a really, I think they had a good conversation here. It's just, this is where, to me, I saw that Scott strategy wasn't on his priorities right now at this moment. Sabrina says, you read my mind, Sabrina. Though Scott kind of ruined the plan, the dynamics after that and Ferris getting revenge on Winna was kind of fun. I totally agree. I really loved these episodes. And Georgette, welcome. You're late, but you're here now. We're glad to see you. All right. And yeah, I mean, they're just listening to Scott. This is more of their conversation. And he says, I feel like it's Mark. I feel like it's Mark.
But it's the way he said it. Like he told Kitty, this is like, people are coming for you. Oh, I think it's this person. And I think because he was very much trying not to say a name, but Kitty kind of read through the lines. I feel, so he's going, it is Mark. She took away the I feel like, and then just heard it's Mark. Because I think Kitty's not gonna play.
Like, yes, but also at this point, it makes sense that it was Mark, you know? But I mean, it also, like, Valeria, right? And he does also mention Valeria here as well. Like, Valeria's sort of leading it. And I was like, all right, are we going to try to get the numbers to go against Valeria? Well, Valeria at this point, they knew couldn't participate in this tribal council. She was safe. And, like, are we going to try to flip the votes on Mark? But we go to tribal council and, it all sort of comes to a head here. Scott says, like, his mind just isn't really in the game. And that he doesn't want to take this chance from someone else. And, that he's admitted that it's been hard for him. And I think that it was nice to see the cast sort of support him on this.
Yeah. And I feel like, because there was kind of the survivor part of me going, why are you quitting? Like, no, like there was that part. Obviously the shock value of, oh my God, wait, what? Thinking back to it is like the dots were dotting. But the main thing I really did appreciate from this was, it's Kirby here, but I support Scotty 100%. I think it was Ferris said something as well that was very encouraging.
I know Eileen did too. Well, Eileen offline after the season. I know. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, so many people did. And I think it was Eden as well kind of spoke on it. But it was the fact that everyone kind of took the moment and went, this isn't game. And I kind of appreciated that. Like, I know we do give people shtick for quitting, But I think the thing with Scott is there was genuineness and there was reason, like there was valid reasons for kind of like him and himself. And the thing is, Scott did play a really good game. Like, if it was someone that had just been dragged along for a bit and then went, I'm going now, I'd kind of been like, what have you done? But at least, like, the thing with Scott is I can kind of see how good he was. Like, he was a good player in the game. So I'm like, at least I can still see you, the player and the person, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it does. I think with Scott in particular, like I think he was in a great position going into the merge.
Yeah.
And it was sad. Again, this is where I'm with you. I also have mixed feelings when people quit the game of Survivor, but we've also seen like I don't want to say worse reasons for quitting,
Yeah.
but we've seen worse reasons. We've also seen like the only reason I hesitate to say it is because we don't truly know what's going on in the mind of the person. See, like I felt like Scott here was very much able to authentically say why he needs to leave for his own good. But we've seen other people who have quit before who try to take a spin on it or end their narrative in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it lands quite as well. Did Scott quit to save Kitty? I don't think so. I think there was more going on.
Yeah. I really don't think that was the sole reason. I do think the episode and the editors and the producers really did give it the good explanation it needed to.
Yeah.
Because I think we were able to hear his reasonings, like the fact that he had no place to let out his anxiety and stuff. And I think that's another reason why I kind of relate to it, being from a creative background, not being able to do that in like his way, which I believe he said was like kind of drawing and creating and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it. So no, I don't think it was to save Kitty, even though it did.
Like you said, Ollie, I think like the way that they had to tell the story in the episode really framed it as sort of a heroic act that would also result in saving Kitty. But when we especially go check our interview with Scott, he was able to give us a lot more insight as to what was going on. And I think it's a really good watch. So go ahead and click on our channel to find that video.
Not just Scott's, but everyone's.
And everyone's. I think the concept, we'll bring it up again when we talk about the other people eliminated. But Chrissy says, I think the concept of voting out people not being empathetic really got to him. That could be, right? It's a big part of the game. Let's see. What was your take on the lack of confessionals by Scott and Raymond and Kitty?
Producers, what's good? Producers, what? Nah, we got to ask the producers about that one.
I just slammed my Go ahead.
That's my opinion. No, I think it is. Yes, and also Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden too.
It annoys me. To be true and frank, it annoys me. And this is, again, not to ruin Survivor Australia, because I actually think this season has been very good.
Yeah.
This season has been so dynamic in terms of the gameplay. Unfortunately, though, the producers are doing what hopefully it's just getting me in trouble. But the producers are doing what Survivor US did in season 44, where it is just these sets of people that are getting all the airtime. And I remember that was my big thing with 44. I loved 44, but in the end, I stopped caring about Matt and Franny and the Tika Free because that's all that was being shoved down my throat. I literally inherently wanted to learn about everyone else. And this is kind of my same thing here. Raymond, Jaden, Kitty, Scott, even Eileen at the start, she wasn't getting many confessionals. And I was sat there and I was like, I need to know about these people, because now it's become this thing of, I'm getting tired of Caroline and Mark and Valeria's feud. I'm getting tired of Ferris and Kirby's feud. I want to know about everything else. I'm not saying that we haven't got this in the last 3 episodes. We have. There's definitely been some other things that have gone on. But Sabrina put me on the rant and I just got on the train.
And Sabrina, we thank you for that. I agree with you. The season has been giving. I mean, to me, with Australian Survivor, I do think that for better or for worse, the producers, the storytellers, they really prioritize storytelling over much else. And I think when storylines don't fit into the overall narrative that's going to bring us to the end of the season, there's a risk of things getting lost. I do think that they do a good job at like posting the extended scenes and the extended tribal councils. But I agree. And I will say, I think it is also nice that we're still able to be fans and want to see more from these castaways that we all mentioned. Because that means they're fan favorites, so that's a good sign. They could come back, and I think that sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's okay, but I do agree, and I like I'll give you an example. When we get to Jaden later on in the episode, I think this was the perfect example of holding out until the very last minute, and then bam, completely unexpected move from Jaden, which was so wonderful to watch. Let's see. Let me see. Seahawks fan. Yeah, this was actually my first Australian Survivor season. Oh, that's amazing. Welcome. Oh, they're so good. And as soon as episode 1, hated the editing style and focusing on 1 or 2 other people. Here's the comment right there.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think the only tiff I have on some of the episodes is after about 10-15 minutes, you do kind of, especially when it was the tribal phase, you could kind of figure out which tribe was going. So I was already expecting it.
Right. I mean, listen, for me, it's not a deal breaker, but I understand why, this may cause annoyance. I get it. One thing I really did like, just wrapping up this sort of section of our conversation, is they ended the episode with the lifeline number. And I thought that this was a fantastic touch that I'm really happy that they chose to do in this way. I thought this was perfect. So I'll just leave it there, but really well on them for putting that up. Oh, but another thing that happened during the tribal council was Kitty. This was so much fun. I love this. And I think they tried making it, I don't know. Did you feel, Ollie, do you feel that they were trying to make it feel like ambiguous to who she was referring to? Because before this, they like confronted Mark about like, did you put our name out there? And then, the 8 figures, Sabrina. And then Valeria threw Ferris's name as like the alternative to how Kitty's name got put out there in the first place. So do you think that? Yeah.
It was definitely ambiguous. I think you could tell she was starting beef without having to say the names. And I loved this side of Kitty because again, me and half the comments just had this rant. We wanted to see more confessionals and more things of Kitty. And these first 3 episodes, we have managed to see more of Kitty than, unfortunately, I think we saw all of pre-merge. And I love seeing this feisty side because I think, where was like, you kind of think like, where was this before? It's always been there. But I love that it was kind of like, right, merge is here. I don't care. If you're coming for me, then okay. And I just thought, I was here for it.
And then this is Mark's reaction. It is so good. Like, I just love, it's like, oh, what did we do?
Ooh.
But at the same time, it's hard to say because I think Scott let us know in the interview, like, some of the castaways went into it sort of feeling like there was a chance that Scott was going to be leaving. So it's hard to say where they all kind of were, if some of them thought the vote was going on. But this was fun. Oh, and the other thing we have to talk about is the gorgeous immunity necklace.
I like this.
I love it.
It's so sleek.
Right?
It's pretty.
I think also the way the color is integrated into it.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yes, because that's what I liked about the big chalice thing. Because it had the little ribbons of the blue and the pink. I really liked that. So, and I mean, especially because if anyone has just recently been watching Survivor UK that we did coverage on, I love this one. I like this. It's
Everyone,
pretty.
Survivor UK, it's great. Go watch it. But it also has the
Not the
Survivor
log.
UK immunity log. And I don't know if this really, it didn't catch on, but I thought the necklace that they got during the merge portion, I thought it looked like a croissant. So I called it the immunity croissant.
I didn't even know you said that. But also, speaking of the log, you're talking about Nigel or Sir Kingsley, I believe.
Well,
Just
we
two.
came up with the name. It's Sir Kingsley Nigel.
Oh
No,
yes,
or Sir Nigel Kingsley.
it was one of those two. We made that
Yeah.
up, but we just got it from the Survivor UK people.
Right, because all of the tribes named it something different. Anyway, but someone who's not a fan of the design of this necklace is Jaden. He said, I'm gonna want something a little bit more masculine. And then
It's quite manly.
It's a great necklace. I'm like, Jaden, have you seen the show? Anyway, so he decides, you know what? I don't need it. And he gives up immunity for Winna. This is a great photo. I love this.
I know, that's such a good photo. But
Yeah,
I did love it because it was the first time also you saw Jonathan just like bewildered. And he was there like, I don't know how to react. And I loved it because I was just sat there going like, wait, you've managed to like spook the host. I was like,
Yeah.
we've seen Jeff Probst like rarely unspookable. We've seen Jonathan like rarely unspookable. And he's just sat there like, okay.
Yeah,
And I was like,
Jaden like really kept Jonathan on his toes for this. Like that, I wouldn't know how to react to something like this. Like, and it's also great because we know the relationship that Jaden and Winna have. So like that was also just kind of really nice. And you know what? It shows game awareness that Jaden was like, I don't have to keep doing this.
yeah.
But in our exit interview with Winna, he actually talked about his strategy to this. And he said that he could go like an extra 10, 15 minutes. So check out that video on our YouTube channel as well. So you can find out what he did in case you're on the show and you need to do this challenge as well.
Thank you.
The other challenge that we had that I really loved in these 3 episodes, I don't know what this would be called, but this was fun.
I mean, to me, it was kind of like, because I think I saw this on Twitter. A lot of people were referring to this as like the next level version of Get a Grip, where it's like the things. But I loved this challenge. This was the challenge. I literally said to my partner, I was like, I want to do it. Like, I would happily do this. Even if I sucked at it, I'd want to do it.
This is also one where like the live transitions, how they would happen, like that was also exciting. Sometimes they're just like, all right, whatever, you're going to step to the next stage.
Yeah.
This one was like, it was cool to see like who fell off because the live transitions got a lot of people during this challenge. But we end up with Rihanna, who takes home the win.
Another person that hasn't got a lot of confessionals. Sorry,
True.
I'm still on that.
True. Rihanna had... It's so funny. Like she is a character. Like I am paying attention to her, but like we also don't see much from her. So when she does show up, I'm like, oh my God. Like, hey, you know, it's kind of that vibe.
To me, it's like Rihanna is like, she comes in, does the thing, and then politely walks back to her seat.
Yes.
And then gets back up, does the thing, politely walks back to her seat. That's what I get from Rihanna.
She like when she played the immunity idol, like that's the same type of vibe. I couldn't even get, we'll see when we get there. I couldn't even get a clear photo of it because it just all happened so quick. But she won that immunity challenge. So good on her. Oh yeah, this was when they were talking about. So you threw Kitty's name out. So I mean, like they know, right? Like they know, like Mark and Valeria have officially gone against the Titans or the middle-aged mafia, depending on how you look at it. And this causes honestly, this is the moment I've been thinking about a lot.
We have varying opinions on this one.
Here's the thing. The reason is I fill in the gaps of the story in my head, and I just imagine both of them just running through the forest at night, just like sobbing because of this.
Yeah.
I know that's not what happened, but
No.
I feel like there's a little bit of humor. It makes me laugh. But also it's like I get it, but it's the television that I want. It's the television moment that I want.
I understand it, but also I kind of sit there and I think, because I am that person that is very logical, and when I was watching this, I was like, and obviously she was crying. And again, I feel like there was merit to like people calling Caroline emotional because I was sat there watching this woman be emotional, and I was like that when there's like two different picks and it's like it's the same pick. I mean, it was entertaining, but also I kind of sat there and I just thought to myself, you've wanted to go against them many times. I'm like, so you've given them reasons. I don't know. I am probably in the minority on this one.
It does feel like there is a little bit of hypocrisy to this, or a lot, depending on who you ask. I mean, like, listen, sometimes you just gotta let it out, right? And if you have a friend out there like Kitty, like you just need to let it go. And I think also because if Scott did not do what he did, there's a really high chance that Kitty was gone.
Yeah.
And I think that that was a really close call.
Yeah, I definitely think that would have sent Caroline over the edge as well. Because I think a lot of I'm trying to say this because I don't want to be like it's not me. I feel like a lot of Caroline's strength comes from Kitty's support, if that makes sense, because how close their bond is.
Well, I will say they complement each other very well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like Packer says, Australian Survivor has much more interesting players than the US Survivor. Well, let's see. Survivor 46 is starting today. Maybe we'll get some more iconic characters. And
I think,
of course, subscribe to our channel so that you can follow that coverage too if you're following that version of the show. But then we get like Kitty Scramble montage. And this was interesting because this was the first time that I feel like I've seen Kirby not be fully straight up during a conversation. I forget what this was about exactly, but it just caught me off guard. And maybe in past episodes, she's also beat around the bush like she does here a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, this was funny because I feel like the conversation of this was like, hey, we should work together moving forward. And Kirby being like, I need to think about that.
Yeah. Let me rain check you on that one. I mean, I feel like this was one of the first times we saw kind of Kitty struggle in the game, because I really feel like the pressure got to her. Because, I mean, we've seen scrambling in the past, but this was like 5 minutes after waking up, and like Kitty's being like, let me sort this out. And I was like, hey, whoa. And I feel like it's because she felt like, obviously, she did feel like she was on the outs. Even though she technically wasn't, because I believe she was voted. If I remember correctly, is this 14 or 15? Before anyone judges, there's 3 episodes. But my brain has to remember.
This is 14. This is 14. Okay. Yeah. Because yes, this is 14. I mean, we see a lot of conversations, especially I think their relationship, Caroline and Kitty's relationship with Rihanna, is very interesting for so many different reasons here. But like, we see Kitty say to a couple of different people, like, I just don't have a good feeling. She's saying it to Rihanna here. She's saying it to Jaden and Caroline here. Like, I just don't have a good feeling about tonight. And for good reason, right? Like, she was going to be the vote.
Yeah.
But then Rihanna won the immunity challenge. And then we have Valeria. And Valeria takes this opportunity to say, wouldn't it be funny if instead of voting for Kitty because she's expecting it, what if we just vote for Caroline?
I mean, that's smart. Like that is the really logical reason. Because if I was on the show and I saw that like someone generally thought it was them, that's what you'd want to do. You'd want to play that up. You'd want to give them that false sense to then switch it up so then people think of it. Like, I mean, to me, that was very much like Survivor, like a good Survivor moment for Valeria. Because it was that thing of, right, let's do it. And I think we obviously then saw that again later on. But yeah, I thought that was smart of her. And plus, it gets revenge for Viola.
Oh, yeah. Valeria is going full steam on the revenge plan for Viola. In some ways, I do think it's to her detriment. I'm going to say, like, I love it. I want to see that storyline play out. But I just want to see Valeria adapt a little bit more to the situation at hand, because we're getting to the point now where I'm nervous that this is going to be what ends up taking her out of the game.
That's very true.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And of course they like spread the message. We're voting for Caroline to everyone. Jaden.
Oh, I love Jaden. Also, actually, I just need to say this as well because I find it hilarious. I love the fact that Viola's name has been mentioned more times in Merge than Raymond has had confessionals.
Is that true? I mean, I believe
Tell
you.
me I'm wrong.
I have no reason to not trust you.
People in the comments tell me I'm wrong because I know I'm not.
Well, yeah. But I think here is a great move from Caroline and Kitty. I think by going up to Ferris and saying, "Hey, listen, we want to get Mark, then Valeria, then Winna out," and then him being like, "I would love to do Winna," and then them being like, "Why don't we just vote Winna then? Why don't we just vote for Winna?" I thought this was fantastic, but they choose. Caroline chooses not to include Rihanna in the vote.
I thought that was wrong.
You do?
I thought that was because Rihanna has been someone that has. It's almost like not. Like Rihanna has been there being like proving herself constantly. Like, I want to work with you too. And I feel like this is that like one of their biggest flaws in the like both Kitty and Caroline. They have kind of excluded her and kind of always kept her at like this. It's like, hi, you okay over there? And to me, I think she has proven herself. Like, you utilize her, work with her because she wants to reciprocate that. So I think leaving her out of the vote was completely wrong of them because now, moving forward, if they try and go back to her and Kirby, like Rihanna and Kirby, and go, let's work together. Rihanna and Kirby are always going to know, are they being genuine? Because it's now been like this time and possibly another time where they've left her out the vote.
I agree with you. I do, because I also think that Rihanna would go along with the plan, and it's also like it was odd. It was an odd choice. I think the fact that they also highlighted it very clearly in the episode, it's literally they added a caption there, like, so like Ree's not in the vote. Like I think it's a misstep. Oh, also, just for validation, Ollie, we have some comments in the chat. You are correct about Viola's name being mentioned more times than Raymond having confessionals.
Which is very sad. But I'm glad I'm right.
Valeria really gets... This becomes the conversation that never ends, which is she says... I am voting out the person who is the weakest, who doesn't deserve to play the game, who was a mistake to cast on the show. Like, I was like, oh my... She didn't say that.
No, she didn't. I was like...
But Valeria, I mean, listen, calling someone the weakest and doesn't deserve to be in the game, I was like, wow. I'm not a fan of that reasoning.
No.
Because, like, who deserves to be in service? Like,
yes.
You're just a player. Like, I don't know.
No, yes. And I am someone that has really stand Valeria this season.
Yeah.
Like, I still continue to root for her. But yeah, this moment wasn't the cutest. I think it's because I understand Caroline's side of it did feel personal. And it was like, okay, well, so I don't deserve to be here. Because I don't think I would, if I ever got on the show, I don't think I could ever say that to anyone, no matter how, like, annoyed I am at someone. When she explained her reasonings for the weak part, I did understand, because I was kind of on the same wavelength as, because she is a very emotional player. Because I know we see later on, she kind of talks, and like she said, when I refer to weakest, I mean emotionally. And I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. But yeah, the part where it's like, you don't deserve to be here, I was like, oh no.
Sure. I mean, listen, regardless of her explanation for the use of the term weakest, I still think it's quite the negative term to throw on.
Oh yeah.
Like there's that element to it. Of course, I also am still a fan of Valeria. But this was a moment that I think I wish I saw a different. So I wish he said something different here. Is it, just for the sake of her own game.
Yeah. Like
And
we know she's very blunt, but yeah, that was blunt.
that was fun. I mean, it comes up a lot in the next episode, but here is where we get the Blindside of Winna, and this was great. I mean, I really like. I did, obviously it's sad someone got blindsided, but I thought the move was really good, and the fact that they were able to negotiate that deal with Ferris was fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is where Kirby confirms, like, oh, they tricked you.
Yeah. I mean, that was the moment we also that was the moment we all saw like I think that's where we all clocked and we went, they made a mistake. They made
a
it like
mistake.
they won this round, but it wasn't perfect. Also, I can't remember what it was that Winna said, but can we just give, because again, I'm going to go on my stand card because my stand card is fully stamped for Eileen. Eileen's vote in confessional when she voted for Winna.
So good. Wait, okay, because Winna said in chaos.
It was so good.
That was nice, Ollie. You just started an ASMR segment. Winna said something along the lines of, in chaos, you get clarity. And then, like, Eileen was like, here's some clarity for you. I don't even know. It wasn't like that.
Here's your clarity, Winna. I'm voting you off. The tribe has spoken.
It was wonderful. But yes, we had to say goodbye to Winna. I want to pull up Sabrina's comment before I move on to the next thing. Was that this episode, the jacket thing?
Yes.
That was this episode. I didn't get a photo of it.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Again, and it was those moments because it was like they were fighting they were not fighting, sorry. They were debating on the tribals and stuff. And then Caroline goes, nope. And I was like, hold on. Hold on. Isn't this Nathan's jacket?
It was.
Who you blindsided and wanted out for a very long time. But then, do you want to know that this is where credit to the producers and the editors? Absolute chef's kiss to the producers and editors.
Okay.
You have Valeria and Caroline fighting over this jacket. Caroline going in. Switch to the next thing, which is Caroline in her confessional wearing the jacket. I was like, they put that in purpose. I was like, that was the
producer. Of course they did.
That was the editors being like, here is your humor. I was like, fulfilled.
It was awesome. Why don't we take a really quick break, Ollie, and then we'll talk about the last episode for the week.
My name is Jonah Fielko, and I'm the CEO of Bracketology.tv, fantasy sports for reality television. We offer fantasy games for shows like The Bachelor, Survivor, Big Brother, RuPaul's Drag Race, and counting. You start by creating a community. Within your community, you can create a fantasy league for each show that you want to play fantasy games for. Within the league, you can choose up to 3 of our 4 game types, and our most popular is the Advanced League. Choose a team of contestants, and depending on what they do and say during the episode, that's how your team will gain or lose points each week. We also have elimination-style games like our Confidence Pool. This is where you choose how confident you are that each contestant will survive elimination that week. And we've also got March Madness-style brackets. Come back a couple hours after the episode to check your scores and watch you climb the leaderboard. Bracketology is free to play, so grab your friends, your family, your coworkers, and head to bracketology.tv for more info.
Ollie, are you all signed up for the Survivor 46 bracketology?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't created my account yet, but I'm going to need help doing it.
I was going to say, I literally just got a ping and notification being like, make sure you get your things in.
Okay, good. I'm going to sign up later today. I'm excited about it. It's going to be my first one. So again, we're doing a little fantasy league with bracketology. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and sign up. Here we get at the start of episode 15. I feel pretty solid with this crew now. Ferris is like, all right, cool. Katie and Caroline, we're in this together. And this is important. Like the reason I had to show it is like I really thought that they were going to move forward in the game together, but we'll talk about what ends up happening there. And we have Jaden, who is sad because Winna, his best mate, has gone home. I loved the training montage that they gave him. That was wonderful.
I know. It was
I wish
almost
I could
like
show
Rocky.
clips.
Yeah,
It
it was almost
was.
like Rocky. I was like here for it.
I mean, but we really got this storyline of like, it's told through the perspective of Eden, where Eden is like, I want to get the OG Titans back together, which I was like, wow, bold. And Jaden, he's like, I want Jaden to start playing the game. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Do you really want Jaden to start like playing the game?
But also, he's been there for how long? Like, Jaden has been playing the game.
Well, of course. But at the same time, I'm like, but why do you why do you want someone to start playing for their best interest?
It was a very odd one for me because again, I feel like I relate to Eden in the sense of superfan recognizes superfan.
Mm-hmm.
It was an odd thing for me. Just Eden's a lot of Eden's logic this episode. I was trying to connect the dots a bit, and this was one of those moments.
And Nina and Randy had an incredible chat with Eden yesterday as well. So go ahead and check out our YouTube channel for that. See, I told you the interviews would show up again, which by the way, Eden, if you are watching this, please let me know where you got that sweater from. I love it. Just let us know. Send us a message. Anyway, so yes, he's like, okay, I'm going to be the teacher to Jaden and we're going to learn all about Survivor. I was like, okay. And then he like pitches the idea to Mark about like let's get the band back together, you know, middle-aged mafia Titans, let's do it. And I'm like, I don't really think they're gonna go for this.
No, I mean, when he mentioned it, I just went, Eden, where have you been for the last like 2 rounds? I was like, what? And I think everyone felt that sentiment of, and I mean, it says it best here. Mark was like, and Caroline and Kitty, because I was like, you're asking this duo of Caroline and Kitty and this duo of Mark and Valeria to cohabitate and be friendly.
Well, they get an opportunity to, and that is in the form of the reward challenge. I loved the whole like teams aspect to this. We only see the stages challenges where they're all playing individually. The team thing was I liked it, but this was the car. This was the Isuzu MUX. Is that how I pronounce? I forget.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a car person.
It comes down to Kitty, Mark, and Valeria, and Mark ends up winning the car.
No, wouldn't it have been? It's just in my fantasy. Wouldn't it have been hilarious if Valeria not only won the she's already won the 60,000, and then she won a car. Imagine, I would have loved that.
Well, listen, I don't know. I don't think anyone who's won the 60,000 and anyone who has won the car has ever won.
No, the car curse is always.
Ah, dang, Mark, you're my winner pick.
Sorry,
okay, never say never. Ah, dang it. Okay, well, congratulations on the car, Mark. That's great. But they also get a barbecue, and he chooses Kitty, Valeria, and then Caroline. And I was like, ooh, interesting. They all go to the lunch. And like, you know, this is where Caroline and Valeria sort of hash it out and talk about how Valeria's comments at the tribal council made Caroline feel.
Yeah.
And it looks like by the end of this that they've cheers. I don't know. I didn't get the impression that they were ready to move on together. And I think Caroline even said it herself.
Well, yeah, Caroline said herself, like, Mark's voted me out twice, which that logic I can understand. I can understand being like, because again, I'd be the same. I'd be like, he's voted me out twice. I'm not going to be super comfortable with him. I don't know. I think it's the logical part, like, well, my sense of logic that I think when her and Valeria were having the conversation, it needed to happen, number one, because like we've kind of said, like Valeria's comments, there was a bit, it was mean-spirited. And I think her owning that was good. But then I feel like as well, it's been this thing of, I don't know, because Caroline did go for Viola, and again, Caroline left Mark out of the vote. And it's almost this thing of the reasons why it kind of irks me sometimes is it's almost like Caroline sat there and been like, I've done nothing wrong. And I'm kind of sat there going, you have a little bit though. There's this little bit here that there's reasons. They're not just going to do anything for no reason. And I feel like that's where I was in this situation. I was like, good for everyone trying to bury the hatchet, but both sides have to take accountability. And I don't feel like both sides took accountability. And that is the most diplomatic, as Mark would say, way I do that.
It's like these relationships, they keep like passing over the responsibility, the accountability, and then like they just keep switching it back and forth. It's very funny to watch. But they do cheers. They do say, you know, great. We had a great time, everyone. And we all go to the immunity challenge. I mean, we got some, you know, fun moments here. Obviously.
That one I always think is the most dangerous. And I think we saw it with Kitty. I was like,
with Kitty, and then it also fell on Rihanna, and I was like,
did it actually fall on Rihanna?
I think it fell on her, like it hit her shoulder, or like, upper back.
Yeah, I'd be scared. I'd be like, I'm about to get a concussion.
I'm. This one makes me nervous, but like, look at. Well, first of all, what I just showed was what they kept saying: make a meme out of Ferris.
Yeah.
Look at Kirby had some amazing saves.
Yeah.
Like that's not.
It was a pendulum.
It's supposed to fall out. Yeah.
Like there was nothing sturdy about it. And I was like, how she managed to get that far? Credit to her though. Because
makes it to the end with Jaden, and it's a show off, and then all of a sudden Jaden wins immunity. And look, Jaden, look how good that necklace looks on you.
I think that looks stunning on you, babes.
Stunning. Okay, but now we have Eden, and this is where Eden plays a little bit too hard, too fast for my liking. Again, there is so much time after the immunity challenge and before tribal council that whatever is the first plan, 9 times out of 10 on Survivor is never the plan that is what everyone goes into tribal council going in with. And to Eden's credit, he got close. He did get close, but unfortunately, he left some room for other things to happen.
I think again, this is where I talk about the kind of the super fan like potholes, what the super fans fall into, because this is something I know I'd have to check. I always see super fans wanting to be almost the puppet master, and I saw it with Eden this episode. He was very much like, I'm going to make this move. This is how we're going to do it. And he's going to have this elaborate thing that looks really like cool and multidimensional. And it's like, it's actually just really complex for no reason. And I feel like that's where he fell into that trap. Like, had he not pushed so hard and made all these different layers, it could have been easier to negotiate. But because there was so much, like, it made people then look and go, like, again, perfect person, Ferris, who, again, is such an observant player, which is good. He was able to sit there and kind of look through all the lines and go, wait, what's that? And then clock it.
Yeah, I feel like Eden was trying to like speed rush. He talks about speed dating at Tribal Council, but I feel like he was trying to like speed rush what would normally be the entire duration period. He tried to like cram it into one plan. So he has this idea: we're going to put the majority of the votes on Rihanna, get her to play her idol, and then we're going to have other votes on Val so that when Rihanna plays her idol, Valeria gets voted out. So he's like, that's the fake plan. But then he's like, here's the real plan. We're going to put votes on Raymond. And it's like, it's going to be this big blindside. I'm like, okay.
One other thing I feel like he did that really confused me. He went to Rihanna, or Rihanna went to him.
Where is it?
And then he basically said to Rihanna, oh yeah,
play your idol.
Yeah, play your idol. And I was like, why are you openly like just say like do if you know how to bluff in Survivor like you should because you're the super fan, you don't give them a lot, but what you give them should be making them paranoid. The bits that you do give them in a way that they can interpret it. You just don't like bluntly tell them.
I mean, I wonder what their relationship was like because like Rihanna ended up playing her idol, but like this moment, it reminded me, I guess, because like any moment kind of reminds me of when Amanda was like, Parvati, you have to play your idol. The votes are going to be on you, and Parvati called her bluff. Like this was sort of like not the opposite, but it was just like it was just so quick. Like Eden was working so fast, and I was so surprised that it was like, yep, you're getting votes, play your idol, and Rihanna was like, okay. I was like, awesome,
Rihanna.
But then Eden's plan kind of stumbles a little bit because he's like, hey, Caroline, guess what? We're gonna vote Raymond out instead, and Caroline is like, no. Absolutely not.
No.
Not happening. And I agree with her. I totally agree with Caroline in this moment. If she votes against Ferris at this time, like the trust that she just established with him and Kitty, like that's a great group. It's gone.
Yeah. And this is one of the very few times I was like, well done, Caroline. Because I understood it. The logical player in me went, yep, I get that. Because why would you? Because it was, again, this was Eden wanting to play Puppet Master and wanting to play the middle, but he didn't play the middle correctly. Because why would you screw over the people that have just helped you? Because then you're losing more allies. Because all you do is look like a flip-flopper. And I think Caroline and Kitty did a very good job at kind of going, no, we've established these connections. This is the kind of game we want to play. We don't want to just flip-flop. That's not us.
Yeah.
So
they know if they do this, it will end their working relationship with Ferris. And I thought that this was like really odd because I think the only thing Eden had to say was, oh, but we'll be in the majority. And I was like, the majority of what? But they seemed very excited by that. I think with like being in the majority of OG Titans, but I was like, is that a thing anymore?
I was going to say, yeah, because this was my whole thing. I was like, within this OG Titans, you still have Valeria and Mark, who you don't want to work with. You also have Jaden, who you've just voted off one of his good friends. And you're not really treating Jaden as an ally. So this majority is not strong. But for some bizarre reason, someone, Eden, is trying to look like it is. And I was sat there like...
Yeah, I think he put a lot of energy into something that was going to be the fantasy. And I think, again, to his credit, it got really close. And, it seemed like it was a really tough thing to kind of sell. I'm trying to see, yeah, right. I love this shot right here. Cause again, like Ferris starts picking up that something is wrong. This is such a great shot. Like, look, it's just like Kitty and Eden in the back. And it's like Ferris, like the gears are spinning. Like he knows something is up.
The flame on his head is flaming. He's figured it out.
He's figured it out, and he goes. I love this strategy. Goes to Caroline and Kitty, and it's like so. And he just pulls this out of the air. It's like, I've heard Eileen and Raymond's names going about, and just wants to see their reactions to it. And I was like, good on ya, Ferris. I like this.
I mean, the fact that all he wants to do is look at their reactions and their body language. I think if anyone clocked what Ferris was doing, you would have been like, you are a threat. Because I would have been there. If I was watching Ferris, watching them, I'd have been like, the fact you've been able to kind of suss them out on body language alone, on reading them, you're not just doing that with them, you're doing it to everyone. So I'd have been like, yeah, that's what I've got to keep my eye on. But literally, good on him.
But like, I would want to be aligned with him, like in this, I think that the OG Titans are so dispersed at this point. And somehow, and like we'll see in the tribal council, like somehow Kirby and Ferris have acknowledged like we had a great rivalry going on, but now we're at the merge. Maybe let's take a step back. It's sort of allowed the Rebels to kind of like view what the Titans have going on. And I would want to be aligned with the OG Rebels at this point because things are just too scattered. Gunners 1, 2, 3. Eden had such good reads too on the Sarah vote and his vote out. He changed, but I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I do. I do agree with that. It's just unfortunate. I think this tribal he didn't.
Again, he was so close. He was so close, but I think also, you know, Eden did have some storyline having to do with paranoia, especially in the early episodes when he heard his name come up. And I think that the paranoia also kind of came out in tribal council as well. I mean, look, there was so much whispering going on, right? Like, and I loved, Kirby was really entertaining in this as well, right? Like checking, how do you think the vibes are? You know, like what's going on? Do we think we're still good? This also made me laugh because like in my mind, Mark is probably like, please stop whispering to me.
He's like that. He's like, please stop. Please stop. Eden, sit down.
Yeah. Sit down. Yeah, we're just gonna whatever happens is gonna happen. And you know, I do think that whispering at tribal council is a risk because people can get whatever they want out of seeing someone do that.
Yeah.
And like based on their responses and based on this, like they call them on it.
Yeah. It's also that thing of once you see people whispering, you know that someone's clocked something. So now you're then in your head going, what have they clocked? Have they clocked me? Have they clocked this? And then it's just, it's the start of paranoia. But I actually think good on Kirby for kind of noticing it. And then again, you mentioned her and Ferris. But I think this is actually a good thing of her adaptability in the game. If anyone's seen me analyze before, we know that one of my big favorite things is adaptable players. And it was the fact that Kirby was able to kind of whisper to Eileen, of all people, who they have not had the best relationship. So the fact that she's been able to kind of go to Eileen and be like, okay, we have to trust each other. Is there a shift? Like, what do you think? Like, keep looking. Like, the fact she was able to instantly just go. I thought that was really good on her. Also, I stand Eileen. Sorry, that's
I know. I do feel like we missed something. Like, I would have loved to have seen how they all sort of came together in this. I think that this is also going to be. This is really dangerous to the OG Titans because I think this was a huge. They became unionized. Like they became like a solid group at this. We'll see, right? I will say that now, and then the next episode they'll probably go at each other again.
Well, I think what the OG Titans, when I say OG Titans, I want to say more so Eden, because this was very much Eden's plan. I think Eden underestimated which side was more fractured. Because I think he had this idea in his head that he could still keep the Titans together and that the Rebels were more dysfunctional. Whereas actually, when you look at it, the Rebels were able to come together because they've done it before. We saw it during the Kelly vote. They are able to kind of wrap together if they need to. And we saw it again here. Whereas with the Titans, if one of them goes through the other, it's revenge. And I think that was the little, thinking about it now, that was the thing that Eden missed. That was the thing that he kind of didn't take into account. But again, he wouldn't have known that. But yeah.
Well, unfortunately for him, they decide it's got to be Eden. Then they switch the votes. All the whispering happens. I love this photo too. This is funny. I really like this. Alex gets up, right? Like it's a lot of movement. And I think at one point, I don't think I have the image, but at one point, like Eden starts getting worried and Mark is like, don't let it phase you. And I kind of agree with, like, at that point, there's nothing you can do. Unless someone in the chat, let me know what strategy would you have done if you were in that situation. But
because all Eden could have done at that point was walk over and been like, so what's the plan? Are we still cool?
Yeah.
But I think Mark realized don't, because then it's going to create this thing that happens all the time in Survivor US now, where everyone gets up and has conversations for about 45 minutes and then has to sit back down, and it's like, so what's going on? And everyone goes,
You know what I will say? I think that the move that was neglected in this moment was Kitty and Caroline saying, "Hey, we're still with you. What's going on? What's the vote?" I think they
Yeah.
missed that opportunity.
Mm.
Because then they could gauge if Ferris still trusted them.
Yeah.
Or if they could get the name and then switch their vote so that it happened that way, that they could
Yeah.
vote aligned with.
Mm.
But they missed that opportunity if it would be given to them. And Rihanna plays her hidden immunity idol. She's like, I don't need this anymore. It's fine. Regardless of what happens. And then Jonathan starts reading the votes, and they're on Raymond. And this is Ferris's reaction. This was like heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, but also just rewind quite quickly.
Okay.
Because we just need to appreciate, and I don't know if you have the photos for it, but when everyone was voting for Raymond and we saw Raymond's reactions, I was loving Raymond during the voting part, because it was just like, to me, it was authentic, like Raymond, and I was here for it. But continue.
I don't have a photo of that, unfortunately, but good call out. And then, as we know, after a certain point, the votes start flipping to Eden. He knows what's going on, and we get a revote. They have to revote. This was great. So, I mean, I love revotes. They're so much
I
fun.
love revotes, yeah.
I thought it was going to tie again. I really did. And then when it didn't, my first thought was Valeria must have flipped.
Same.
Okay, right?
Same.
Because I didn't think that she would risk her game for Eden.
No.
So Eden goes home, and I love Eden. He was a great addition to the season.
Yes.
I hope to see him again in the future. But the real story here is Jaden. Just like a moment. This was beautiful. This was so good. It got me so excited for next week's episodes, because I just want to see what happens next. Like,
Yeah.
I was not expecting this from Jaden, but I loved, he mentioned Winna. He said, this is for Winna. Like, it was just, I was so happy. It was so much fun.
Do you want to know, when we started talking about episode 15 and you went, I don't understand why Eden is doing this. It's come full circle. Eden, why are you doing this? Oh, this is the reason Eden goes.
Well, no, yes. And I should clarify, I just didn't know why strategically Eden would do it. Storytelling wise, I love the story of the student became the teacher.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this for Jaden, because again, it's so unassuming. And I actually don't think anyone's going to think it was Jaden. Like, Mark and Valeria, I think Mark and Valeria could, but I don't think Kitty and Caroline. Kitty and Caroline, like I think we all naturally did, are going to go
Mark and Valeria. Yeah. Unless Jaden takes credit for it.
Yeah.
Which he could.
I think he will. I think he will, which I'm here for. Because it's Jaden.
I mean, love this moment. Let me know in the comments if you also really enjoyed this twist. I would say it was so awesome to see, and it was just a great wrap up of Jaden and Winna's story. But Ollie, I'm feeling refreshed and relaxed. We made it to the end of our episodes 13 through 15 recap. I had so much fun reviewing these episodes with you. Again, we're going to be back next week to talk all things episodes. How many ever?
16, 17, 18.
There we go.
I might not be, but
you might not be, but it's okay. And I just had such a great time. I want to thank you all who joined us for today's recap. We love chatting with all of you in the live chats, and make sure to leave a comment. It really helps the channel. And of course, leaving a like is also good. Make sure to subscribe, because we have Survivor 46 coverage starting tonight and happening all throughout the week. So we will see you for more Survivor coverage later.